looks like that we're ready to go. How you doing? My name is Avon, or Nails That Glow, and this is Abstractions That Glow, a weekly podcast where I talk about a couple of subjects, and you sit there and listen to me because you like my voice, don't you? You really like my voice. You just want to listen to me talk. You want to hear me say things. And that's why you're here. I'm still trying to find people that just want to be on a silly podcast. And I'm still very much finding my footing here. I have established that there will be two subjects that are always in each episode. One of them is going to be the end, random facts. And the other is going to be, I'm fucking mad, or, just want to call out somebody because I fucking hate them. Not anything like uber serious or anything like that. Just, like that J.K. Rowling bitch or the stupid Zack Snyder comic book movies. All right, so today we are going to talk about, first off, romance. Now, I don't know how many of you out there are into R&B music. I love R&B music. Some new R&B music is just a bit lazy. Like, honestly, if you listen to some of it, it's just trying to, redo Johnny Gill, and Luther Vandross. And it's like, y'all need to step up your game. If Megan Thee Stallion can, build off Lil' Kim and, actually do something new, y'all can do better. I'm just saying. Anyways, I wrote a romantic story for my other show, First Drafts That Glow, and I really started in the idea that I was going to write a happy love story. And I talk about this a little bit. I just recorded that before this. The post-production on that takes a bit longer. But it just went dark, and it ends kind of dark too. There's no aliens, there's no vampires, there's, no superheroes, no necromancers or magic or anything like that. It's just a story about two people that meet at this posh hotel. They're obviously well-to-do, and each of these girls are dealing with their own things, and one of them doesn't do too well. I don't want to spoil it for you, especially if you're going to go listen to it. There's a little hair on the microphone. It's pissing me off. Sorry about that. But I mentioned slightly that I did base some of the story, like most writers do. We take inspiration from our life. And I don't know how to really say this, but I guess I'll just say it the way it shows up in my head. I have talked about a little bit on my personal blog that, I haven't really had the best time with relationships. This would also be a good time to say, you can find all the information about me on nailsthatglow.com. Like and subscribe. I should have said that sooner. I kept choosing relationships where I allowed the people I was with to be shitty to me. And I would get into relationships with people that just wanted to play with me for a little while and then dispose of me. And I was so starved for connection and romance and a feeling of, not being alone adrift in the bleakest ocean of life. um, that, I just let people do that to me. And a lot of that was, uh, I was very, very much a heavy drinker. I had a pretty intense pot habit, and over the years, I've experimented with pretty much every drug, except for injecting stuff. I never injected stuff. My stepdad really he did a number on me when it came to stuff like that because he used me as like an example for how the plasmapheresis process worked. And if you don't know what that is, it's when they stick a needle in your arm, pulls out the blood, runs it through a centrifuge to separate the platelets, and then puts the blood back in your body. So you can donate like once every 2 weeks or so. And these days, the process takes like, a half hour maybe at the most. The machines are really efficient these days, and they're not that big. They're like, one of those countertop, I should say, washing machines, for dishes or clothes. Like, they are not big anymore. They used to be ginormous. They used to be like a full size, washing machine device. That the centrifuge inside was almost as big as the inside of a washing machine, and one one needle would go in one arm, and the gauge of it was pretty intense. Like, I think, I don't know, maybe a 10 gauge needle. It was big. I still have a few scars. One needle to pull the blood and another needle to reintroduce the blood, because it didn't have, they didn't quite develop the system to do it all through one tube. And the separation process wasn't super efficient at that time. So it could take like an hour and a half for one donation cycle. So they would, hook you up, cover you with a blanket, give you some headphones, and let you watch, videotapes, whatever, they had on hand. And since it was Red Cross, they tended to have a lot of stuff. And I remember my my kind of pseudo brother and I would always be asked by my stepdad to donate plasma, because it was still in its early stages, and they needed data. They needed, numbers to like figure out like limitations, times, stuff like that. Like, there was a lot of monitoring of the people that came in, make sure they were okay. Like, everybody had to stay for a little bit after donating. Drank some juice, ate some cookies, Nutter butter. Oh my God. I don't even think I can eat Nutter butter anymore, and I used to love those. But I was a child. I wasn't old. And my stepdad kind of made me feel obligated to, do this thing. So, these days that wouldn't float. Absolutely not. I mean, that's straight up child abuse. And that's on the low end of what he would do. But so yeah, I never really wanted to inject stuff. So um, my back to what I was talking about, my awareness of how I was being treated in relationships was often masked by, you know, acid or mescaline or pot or, you know, um, I think I smoked meth a handful of times, but not wasn't really a fan of it. Like it just felt wrong. I don't know how else to say that. Like I can get why people like it, but oh my god, like there's something wrong with that. Like also, anyways, Breaking Bad was hard for me to watch. So yeah, romance is a difficult thing for people, and I feel like I processed some in that story as I was writing it because there is unrequited love in there. There's, somebody who doesn't really think that they owe the other person anything, and they don't. They absolutely don't. But they they also aren't aware because they're caught up in their own drama. And then the person who is like desperate for that connection and everything is so lost in their own problems that they can't rationally be like, well, obviously she's here on vacation. I have to leave her alone. Like that was just a hookup. Um, I don't really know where I was going with that. I kind of went off on a tangent with that stuff about my stepdad and stuff. But that's what this is, just thoughts. um, so we're gonna move on. So I'm not completely doom and gloom, which is funny. I just said that because it is doom and gloom. The midterm elections. So I'm not gonna talk about you know specific candidates. It does look like that. Um, it does look like that the Democrats really prevented a lot of insanity. And I feel real bad for Florida, in Texas, the manipulation that they do, the gerrymandering, the kind of voter suppression stuff that they do. It's ridiculous. Like every state just needs mail-in ballots. Like I lived in Florida for a while, and they make polling stations small, inefficient, and distant from everything. And since Florida is a right to work state, which is a misleading thing to say because it's not, like that the actual execution of what happens in places like Florida is they can literally fire you for anything. They don't owe you anything. Oregon, where I'm at now, it is a completely different story. You really have to fuck up for your job to fire you. And even if they want to fire you, it's a whole human resources thing. But in Florida, it doesn't fucking matter. You could come in one day and they're like, I don't like your shoes, you're fired. Which happened to me once. At pizza place. I got the job and the guy just kept talking about football and I'm just nodding and smiling. I'm just like, I just need a fucking job. Yeah. And I was willing to roll in with that, but I show up my first day. I bought shoes specific to what he told me to buy. I even got a new pair of blue jeans because he wanted, everybody to be in blue jeans and these sneakers. And like he gave me a shirt for the restaurant and told me to wear a ball cap and stuff. And I show up and he's like, you're wearing the wrong fucking shoes. And I'm like, no, I'm not. These are exactly what you told me to wear. And he's like, absolutely not. He's like, you're fucking lying. And I was like, fuck, bitch. It really got under my skin because it's just uh, very much Florida. Like the whole thing about Florida and the Republican stranglehold. It's frustrating. Um, I just I'm just glad I live somewhere that has mail-in ballots because I still have an obscene amount of social anxiety being out in public. And not only that, but like it's just a good idea. Like, how do you not want to do that? How do you not want to make voting available to everybody? It blows my mind. Like, the only reason why you wouldn't want mail-in ballots for everybody is because you are trying to prevent people from voting. That's it. That is literally the only reason anybody could ever want to hold mail-in voting back from their people. And also gerrymandering is just ridiculous because they'll completely work around neighborhoods of color just to have all of the conservative white people in one district outnumber, the Democratic people of color kind of thing. Like, ugh. Anyways, I'm not trying to get all political science here. I'm just saying I really hope you voted. I really hope you paid attention to all of the things that you had the opportunity to vote on, and that the next time a vote comes around, that where you live, you go out and vote. You're not being edgy or cool or anything like that by not voting. Yes, the electoral system is some bullshit. Yes, it's abused. And yes, it does sometimes feel like your vote is just, pissing against the wind. I get it. We can talk about that all day long. However, we can't change it if we don't vote the people who want that system to persist. You have to vote to get people who are willing to change the things to make voting and this country worth a damn. Because fucking A. Sweeping statements about politics are never a good idea in general. But I do have to say, ever since 2016's election, the GOP is proven again and again to be a party of fascists and a neo-Nazi support structure. And the people in Congress who have been there for decades need to get the fuck out. They just do. And that brings me to fuck the GOP. Okay? Like, this is the next subject. The GOP is... How to say this? The GOP is... Fuck. I just want to say, like, just balls of, like, emotional things, but the GOP is an example of why only having two parties in this country, two dominant parties, and only really giving attention to these two parties has been a mistake. In other countries, they have multiple parties represented. Some of them, some of them never get past a certain point. Some of them never get a significant amount of the votes, but the option is there. It's also ridiculous that the Democrats and the Republicans historically have kind of twisted and reshaped themselves over the centuries. Because what we call a modern Republican, about 100 years ago would have been a Democrat, and vice versa. So it allows each party to claim things that are just ridiculous. Like the Democratic Party isn't completely innocent, but the Democratic Party hasn't actively supported, groups like the Proud Boys, and anti-Semitic militias, and tried to push the QAnon conspiracy so hard on people. The whole idea of trans people being shot and put in jail, the entire dismantling of Roe versus Wade, all of that is, Republican driven. And consistently, the Republicans, for a very long time now, have been very much against, expanding education, making education more accessible for people. And if you were one of them, of course, you don't want the people to be educated. You want them to stay fucking stupid so you can manipulate them. And that is some goddamn bullshit. Like, hold on. That is just bullshit, because if you actually have pride in your country, like a lot of these Republicans claim to, you would make education the foundation of your people. That's just, you can't really argue that. You can't argue that. And if you try, you're doing it in bad faith, because you're being like racist immediately. There's just no two ways about that. So like teachers, like they need to be held to a higher standard for sure, in general, but teachers need to be paid more. They need to be paid more than police. Police don't belong in schools. They don't do any good at schools. There has never been a time, I think maybe once, that one time, where police being at the school does anything positive. And the idea of arming kids with vests and stuff like that, that's just... Do y'all not read history? Because, my God. So, and it also comes down to like the argument about, teaching creationism next to evolution, because evolution's a theory. Okay, few things. It's a theory not because it hasn't been established or proven or studied or anything, quite the opposite. There's so much data and research and, there's like reams of data that support it. But the creationists say, well, if it's just a theory, it's not proven, creationism could be real too. Even though creationism says the world's only like, 6,000, 6,500 years old or some bullshit like that. That's just insane. Like, if you wanted to teach the origin of the universe of every religion alongside creationism and evolution, go for it. Let's throw in the Hindi stuff. Let's throw in the East Asian mythologies. There's dozens of mythologies from all over the world that still exist, that are about the creation of life and humans, and why not teach what the Greeks thought, kind of thing. Oh, I know. You have an agenda. You want your religion to be the dominant religion. And I have a problem with that. We all should have a problem with that. The GOP just does not want people to be educated. I would really like to start a charity, and I have some executive function malfunction, so I don't know if I'll be able to get to it properly. I know I just need to motivate somehow, but I want to start a charity where all the old ebooks, because Amazon has a recycling program for them. They buy them back sometimes, but some of them they're just no good anymore, to people, because they have a low refresh rate, or they don't have certain bells and whistles, whatever. I want to start a charity collecting all of the ebooks that people are willing to purchase for the charity or give to the charity, and load them with, everything that a person would need, from kindergarten to college level. All the basic stuff. You can throw in hundreds of textbooks in a Kindle, and there could be resource links. You could even use Web3 technology for some of that. Start storing some backup information, have people volunteer to be available for Zoom, or just produce YouTube videos or TikTok videos that describe some of the harder things in it, and just hand them out to people. You could even include all of the religious books of every active religion in the world right now. From Christianity to Satanism to Hinduism to Shinto to Buddhism, all of it. Don't hold anything back. And oh my gosh, we need to protect kids from stuff. Let me tell you, when I was a kid, I went to the library a lot, before the internet. And I got into some stuff. I read books that I didn't quite understand, at that age, but they gave me things to think about. I was that kid that read the Dune Encyclopedia. I'm not even kidding. It was before I was 11, I know, but I read the Dune Encyclopedia, and I was so fascinated with it. Oh my God, yes. And I read a few books on Plato and Aristotle and stuff like that. It just made my mind go crazy. Oh my gosh, I don't understand a lot of it, but didn't stop me from wanting more. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with kids reading the Quran, or the Satanic Bible, or the King James Bible, back to back. They're all just an angle of philosophy. But anyways, fuck the GOP. If you support the GOP currently, you are likely a trash person, and I don't like you. If you're oh, well, not all GOP are like that, okay, then support changes. Stop supporting these QAnon idiots. Stop supporting Trump. Stop supporting anybody who denies women bodily autonomy. Any person that can give birth needs the right and ability to have an abortion. And people like me have a right to exist. I'm trans. I take hormones. I'm not a man. And that needs to be okay, because I'm not doing it to hurt anybody. I'm not doing it to hurt kids. That entire concept is just, it's not helping anybody. It isn't. Drag queens, drag queens are just performers. They're just, most of them are just goofy ass bitches that are having fun. They are not interested in anything that you think they are. I guarantee it. I mean, okay. I don't want to derail and get, like, I think I derailed myself already. I mean, I just kind of went. But if you can help me out, start a charity to get like all kids e-readers with all sorts of textbooks and resource information and stuff like that, contact me, firstdraftsthatglow@gmail.com. I'd love it. Like and subscribe. All right, so random facts. We're at the end of the show already. My goodness. Let's see, random facts. I am unhappy with my weight. Now, I want you to know that in a previous life, in a previous incarnation of myself, people didn't quite get I was being sarcastic and just like trying to reflect the ridiculousness of it all. And, that's my fault. I was doing an Andy Kaufman thing where I was living a character that I chose, and I didn't break character. And people kept being like, you don't actually believe this. And I'm like, why are you questioning me? Why did I say it otherwise, kind of thing. But in a previous life, I did say things like, if you're fat, all you need to do is change how you eat and exercise. And I mean, I knew that was ridiculous to say, but there's so many people out there selling that mentality that I felt I needed to like just be like, doesn't this sound dumb? And then people would be like, dude, that's wrong. And yeah, it is wrong. I shouldn't have done it that way. I could have approached it from a different angle and just made fun of that industry directly instead of subversively. Like, I don't know. I just came across as very insensitive to the idea of weight and health and disability and stuff like that. And, as I get older, especially since I've started taking hormones, my body is different. It is just different. And I used to work out, like I hated working out in front of people. So, I would do stuff like push-ups in the house and sit-ups and, stretches and stuff. And I made it a point nobody be around when I did stuff like that because it just felt embarrassing. And then I also did like high-level cardio stuff. And, after a while I was doing dance games. It's like Jazzercise or Zumba, except it was on my Xbox. And between the drug use, the high levels of testosterone that were in my body, and my kind of high carb, high protein vegetarian diet because I've been vegetarian for a while. I'm vegan now. My body just hates cheese. I miss cheese. I fucking miss cheese. I was always thin and a bit toned, and people got the idea that I was not body positive. And I have always been body positive. Like I said, I could have approached all of that much better. I adore all body types. I don't care if you're tall, short, if you're plump, if you're skinny, if you're toned, if, like the Sylvester Stallone balloon animal look is not something I like. That's a bit extreme for me. But, if you're not on HGH and you just have that natural bulk, chances are I'll think it's pretty hot. And then you got these beautiful women like Lizzo who are like active and vibrant. And that's just her body, yo. People just keep hating on her. And it's like, why are you hating on her? She's fucking gorgeous. Like her life, her energy, and like, I mean, she's cute. Like, I would not kick her out of bed for eating crackers. I'm just saying. Lizzo, what's up? Anyways. Yeah, I've dated and been with a range of humans in my life. Tall, short, thick, thin. And I look at myself now and I'm angry, and my body dysmorphia is like kind of climbing on top of me sometimes because, my body is changing still, and I still need to get rid of my Adam's apple and my face hair. But I now have this tummy, and I've been hanging out with somebody who just tells me how cute I am. And that is so awesome because everybody is sexy. Now, there are some people who are ugly because of their personality, how they act, how they treat others. But there aren't really ugly people. We need to change that. Now, outside of concepts like the D. Antwoord song "Ugly Boy," that's like an image kind of thing. Like, at no point is Ninja saying he's ugly. Yolandi is not saying Ninja's ugly. She's not. It's just he's just kind of rough, the character. He's just, a bit rough. So, that's like a that kind of thing. But, insulting women, cis women, trans women, cis men, trans men, non-binaries, saying that they're ugly, that just shows how unattractive you are. Because we're all attractive. I have not met, and I can honestly say this, I have not met a truly ugly person. I have met some unattractive people. Yeah. I have met people who act ugly. Yeah. But calling people ugly, that makes you unattractive. That makes you ugly in the moment. But I'm pretty sure you're still hot too. Even if you're being a piece of shit. And attractiveness is not always about sex. Attractiveness is more than that. It's liking the person you're next to. It's wanting to hang out with somebody. It's wanting to hear their voice, wanting them to hug you. Friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, family. All of that's beautiful. And you're beautiful. And I think that is the end of my show today. I want to thank you very, very much for tuning in for episode 3 of Abstractions That Glow. I was going to put together a soundboard for this episode, but I didn't get around to it. I'm really sorry about that. I don't even know what kind of sounds I would put in there. I mean, I don't want to put in the typical stuff, because that's just not me, babe. But if you would like to guest on this show, please contact me, firstdraftsglow or firstdraftsthatglow@gmail.com. Visit me, firstdraftsglow on Twitter, nailsthatglow on Twitter, or find me through nailsthatglow.com. Also, check out my YouTube channel, First Drafts That Glow. Abstractions That Glow also has a YouTube channel if you want to see me on video talking into a microphone. This entire episode, each of these episodes, these are, opinions, these are ideas, these are thoughts. I am not trying to put myself off as an expert or anything like that. So if you disagree with me or you want to add to the conversation, go ahead. We can only learn and grow. The day I don't want to learn, that's the day I'm probably going to die. The day I don't want to learn anything new, probably just be done. But anyways, again, I know I've said anyways already. I am Avon, or Nails That Glow. This has been Abstractions That Glow, and I love you. Abstractions That Glow, produced, recorded, and starring Avon. For more information, please contact us at firstdraftsthatglow@gmail.com. Also visit our website at nailsthatglow.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.